Hello and welcome to The Village. My name is Lynette Manzini. The Village is a program that we bring you every week where we talk about youth issues. In today's program, I speak to the Population Services Zimbabwe Country Director. I speak to a local musician, Holy 10. I speak to Epworth youths about sexual reproductive health and how they can drive to stay alive during COVID-19. So don't go anywhere, stay tuned and join me inside. In today's program, I am going to speak to the Country Director of Population Services Zimbabwe, Pester Siraha. Welcome to the program, Pester.
Thank you.
Pester, we come at a time where there's lockdown in Zimbabwe and in other countries around the world because of the COVID pandemic. And today's theme is Drive to Stay Alive during COVID. And your organization deals with adolescents and youths. The reason we brought you to this show today is for you are a country director, you have been a youth before, you've been an adolescent before. There are challenges that the youths and adolescents face as they are growing up. You know, you talk of their career, you talk of their mental health, you talk of their sexual reproductive health. So my first question to you is, now that you're a country director, when you look back, do you think that as an adolescent, as a youth, you sat down and really said to yourself, which career path am I going to take?
Thank you very much. Yes, as I was growing up, as a young person, as an adolescent, when it gets to adolescent, this is the stage where at times in terms of career-wise, you can get confused. You're not sure what you really want to do. You have so many ideas, so many things you're thinking of, your professional life, your career life. Which profession is best for me? Which direction is best for me in life? So yes, I went through all those stages of adolescence, confusion, and then being focused, and then availability of mentors as well to support you as you get confused and you are really not sure of what you want to do. But what I'm proud of is that when I was at this stage of adolescence, I was very focused. I knew what I wanted to do. I knew I wanted to have a profession. I wanted to be someone in the community who can be respected. And I managed to achieve that because I have that vision.
Interesting. Being focused is very important, because it helps you plan your path. And, my next question then is, what encouraged you to be focused? Because it's not everyone who's focused. And we want to, with this program, to ensure that the youths watching, the adolescents watching, make sure that they are focused. What encouraged you to be focused?
Staying in the community and you see other people who are female, like yourself, and you emulate what they are doing. You see other professional women, other professional young women. Maybe they go to college, they're going to college, and after college they graduate, and they're working and they're looking after themselves and they're looking well. So you aspire to be like those people. So that was the drive. That's what pushed me to say, I want to be like these people. I remember when I was young, still in high school, and there was a professional nurse in our neighborhood. And she'd be going to work and we were going to school. And every day we see her and we started admiring her. And to the extent that we even went to her house and asked her, how do I become a nurse? How do I become a professional nurse? And from there, the discussion started until we enrolled into the nursing school.
So you raised very important points, especially the one around role models. You need role models in communities. Do you think that we still have role models in our communities today? Obviously, the time you grew up and the era we're in today are really different, especially during COVID. Where do you see those role models when you're stuck in the house?
They are there. The role models are there. If you look at the young people who are in college, those are the role models for the young ones who are in high school. And young people who are in their professional career, we've just graduated and they've started their professional careers. Those are the role models you can find. Now in schools, there's open days, career days, where you can get some guidance, some advice on which professions to pursue in your life. So that's where you find the role models. They are all over. The role models are there. What you just need to do is to be focused and be self-directed and know what you want to achieve in your professional life.
Okay, so just walk us through your journey. How did you get to be where you are today? You know, when we just look at you, it looks like a walk in the park. You know, is it really a walk in the park?
No, it's not a walk in the park. You know, being a country director and being a woman in a male-dominated community is really an encouragement for the young girls and for the adolescents and young women. Those who are focused and they really want to aspire to do better. So, you know, starting from my early lives in high school, where I was really focused, I wanted to do something better. I wanted to do this challenging, you know, this male-dominated environment, work environment, and that is what really pushed me to say, I can do it. Looking at other women who all were also successful. And if you look in the banking sector, there are women who are successful there. If you look in our nursing profession, there are women who are successful there. In hospitals, a lot of high-level people were women. The matrons, a lot of the matrons were women. So that actually gave me that drive to say, I want to do it. It was not easy. You have to work hard. You have to make sure you attain the required grades in your high school, in your college, in your university, everywhere. So that motivation to work hard, that I want to be something better, I want to do something better, was the drive. So even from the time I finished my college, I didn't stop there. I said, let me continue to university. I went to university, attained my BSc in nursing. I thought that was not enough still for me. I want to have my master's. I did my master's in executive business management. I attained that. I also did another master's in strategic HIV management. I attained that. I also did another programming in leadership because I knew I wanted to be a leader. So my drive was towards being a leader, and that's why I'm here today. But it's not a walk in the park. You have to work hard. You have to do extra study. You know, being a woman now, you're married and you have children. You have children to look after. But if you are focused, you'll still achieve everything you want in life. Okay.
You know, just listening to you is encouraging me. I know this program is for the youths, but I'm already inspired and encouraged already. But as you were growing up, you spoke about you in high school. You were an adolescent at some point. You were a youth at some point. What are some of the challenges, you know, regarding puberty that you faced, that you think young people are facing today?
You know, at that stage, there's a lot of peer pressure, a lot of pressure to explore in terms of sexuality. You want to explore what you are seeing, what you are reading, what you are discovering in school. You know, you start to discover certain things related to sexual reproductive health, and you then want to experiment on them. But now the knowledge that there is availability of services, SRI services for the young people is something which is very helpful. You know, during our times, yes, the services are available, but not as readily available as they are today. Today we have a lot of SRI services and access to services for youth and adolescents, which is actually a plus during this time. We have got a lot of organizations who are working on youth focus, and as Population Services Zimbabwe, we also have a very special focus on youth and adolescents, giving them advice and information on their sexual reproductive health and what services are available and how to access them if they need them. What is important is to have information, and then the young people can make an informed decision. And young people of today are really blessed that there is a lot of information available.
Okay, and are they, in your view, do you think the young people of today, because there's enough information, they are using this information?
I feel this information is used by some, but not to the maximum, not the way we would expect it. Because you can see that there's a lot of unintended pregnancies amongst the adolescents. If you see the rate of unintended pregnancy in the country at around 22%, that's quite high, which means even though the adolescents are aware of the services, the uptake and the use of those services still needs a lot of effort. They still need a lot of support and awareness so that they know that the services are available.
Okay, but one would think that right now, because there's enough information, people would access it much easier than the time you grew up. You rightfully mentioned that the information, where are we getting it wrong? Yes, it's an individual choice. It's an issue of socialization. Where are you getting? But where are we really getting it wrong?
I think it's a matter of starting from a home situation where we are open about it and we talk to our children about sexual reproductive health, about growing up. That kind of discussions do not normally happen. We leave our children to explore on their own, to identify and discover along the way. But we are not really sitting down with our children and talk to them about sexual reproductive health. And are we really confident to actually refer our children for services, that they can access services from these facilities? So that's where we are going wrong. We are not very open with our children and talking to them and refer to them for services and support where they can get them.
And as Population Services Zimbabwe, do you have a platform where you can speak to parents? Because I see you do speak to the youths. I mean, there's need also to speak to these parents so that they can open up and begin to discuss these issues.
Yeah, so speaking to the youth, we do have a lot of platforms for them. We've got our toll-free line, they can call us, they can communicate with us. We've got our WhatsApp, we've got our other social media platforms where they can talk to us. And we only see the young people talking to us. And then for the parents, we address them through the communities. We are out in the communities, in rural areas, and we do a lot of engagement with parents in the communities. And we talk to them about sexual reproductive health and why it is important for the adolescents and young people. That's the platform we are using currently. But there is room to expand, to look at other platforms where we can directly engage the parents and they can also ask us questions.
Okay, we surely hope that the parents will take up the information that they are receiving in the communities. I just wanted to move on to another issue. People talk about sexual reproductive health and they say there's a relationship with your well-being, and there's also a relationship with your well-being is your mental, is your emotional, is your physical well-being. Mm-hmm. What is that relationship like? Maybe begin by telling us that, and then telling us how young people can protect themselves to ensure that their state of health is at par.
I think health, as you have said, health is a state of complete physical, mental, social, and psychological well-being. So it embraces everything. So when we are looking at the health of young people, it embraces all the aspects: physical, mental, social, psychological well-being. So when we talk of sexual reproductive health, that's where the physical part comes in, how they are growing up and the needs of their bodies as they are growing up, and how do we support them. So if they are engaging in sexual relations, how can they prevent unintended pregnancies? But the first thing which is emphasized for young people is abstinence. But then we say, if you can't abstain, right, there are options available for you. And the young people and the youth and adolescents, they should know that there are options available for them to prevent unintended pregnancies. The availability of various contraceptive choices which are available for them. They should know how to protect myself from getting pregnant, how to prevent myself from getting unintended pregnancy. And then as you talk to adolescents as well, there's a lot of counseling which goes in so that you also look into their psychological well-being. So you don't just provide like a contraception to a young person. You need to counsel them. What brought them to that stage? Why do they want to use a contraception? And what are the dangers of using contraception? What are the dangers of doing unprotected sex? So they are trying to look into their psychological well-being as well as looking at their physical well-being. So a counseling needs to happen, the holistic counseling for the adolescents. Whenever they come to our clinics, the holistic counseling happens, and then they make informed decisions.
Okay. And, we want to come into the issue of, we spoke about youths want to experiment, and during those experiments, inappropriate behaviors, and sometimes STIs come up, unwanted pregnancies, and this negatively impacts the education and the future prospects of these the youth and adolescents. what are you doing as an organization? I know you spoke about counseling, but what are the services? You spoke about services, but let's break them down and say, what is it that young people can use when it comes to preventing unwanted pregnancies? The first one you spoke about was abstinence. And the Ministry of Health is always talking about abstaining. But there are some that are failing to abstain. What is it? What are some of those things that are available? Because some might fail to come to Population Services Zimbabwe and might bump into this program, and this would be a platform to inform them as well.
I think you've said it right to say the first prevention is abstinence and abstinence. Then if you fail to do abstinence as a young person, as an adolescent, and then you visit our clinics and you want support on how to manage yourself, because this is about managing yourself. Now you're sexually active and we do counseling after counseling. We explore with you that we have abstinence, yes, number one. We do have contraceptions, various options of contraception available. And then through examinations and also talking to you, you select what is appropriate for you. We do have a wide range of contraceptives available through our clinics and even through our outreach teams. So all that we can discuss with you as a young person, and then you make your choice of what is appropriate for you. But the providers there, they also guide you in terms of your physical well-being and your growth and the development stage on what could be appropriate for you. So the decision is a combined effort, where the provider, the nurse or the doctor is providing you with the correct information, and then you also make your decision.
Okay, like I mentioned in the beginning, we are during the lockdown, the COVID-19 induced lockdown, and essential services staff, going about their business. Is this, the services you offer, sexual reproductive health, especially focusing to the youth, is it an essential service?
Yes, it is an essential service. Health is an essential service. As you have said, sexual reproductive health. So health is an essential service so that we maintain our health and we continue with our professional life. We wouldn't want to have a situation during the pandemic like now, and now 22% of all the school-going children cannot go back to school. They need to go back to school. The school-going adolescents and young people, those in college, they need to continue with school. They need to protect themselves. So yes, sexual reproductive health is an essential service during the
So which means your services are open to the youth. Then what I want to find out is, when you leave, the lockdown regulations are that you're not allowed to move more than 5 kilometers from your home. And you pass through a roadblock and you are a youth. Maybe I'm 15 years old and I want to go and access my contraceptives. The roadblocks are manned by people older than me. How do I navigate this roadblock to ensure that I go and access this service?
Yeah, it has been a challenge for some of the young people trying to access the services. But for some, after discussing and explaining to the respective security personnel, they were allowed to pass through. So we really appreciate that they were allowed to pass through and get their service. Yeah, those some were not allowed because it depends on the type of explanation they will have given and the understanding of the security personnel. But we can say we are quite grateful that a lot of adolescents and young women, and including the general population, they were allowed to access services during this COVID lockdown.
So coming back to you, we know that people experience challenges, triumphs on their journey to becoming a leader. You are a leader in your own right. I mean, you are the country director of Population Services Zimbabwe. From your personal experience, what advice would you give to young people seeking to take positions of leadership in the future?
I think remain focused right from your young age. You should know what you want. Protect yourself. Don't be afraid of venturing into difficult territories. Some will say, no, I can't be a country director. As long as you have the willingness to do so, you have the willpower to do so, you will have the energy to achieve what you want. So remain focused and aim for the highest level in whatever you want to do. Don't aim to say, I can just complete my college and I will just be a general person. No, aim for the best.
Okay, so thank you very much for sharing this with us. And at this moment in time, I want to rope in the youths. We have youths who are with us here. We will, we want them to ask you questions. I mean, they look up to you. You are a woman, like you said, it's difficult to, to be a country, to achieve higher as a woman because of our society and because of other stumbling blocks. And we just want to rope in the youths for them to ask questions that they would want answered by you. So I would like to welcome you, Alpha Abotol Batiza. Welcome to the program.
Thank you very much for extending this invitation to us as young people.
Catherine Murume Wangu, welcome to the program. You are not new to this program.
Thank you so much.
Kudapashe Gomo, a warm welcome to you.
Thank you very much.
So this is the opportunity that we have provided for you to be able to ask questions to the Population Services Zimbabwe country rep. I'm sure you have worked with, you have engaged with this organization. They have informed you, educated you. But today we are with the leader, the person who is leading this organization. So I'm going to begin with you, Alpha. But you can field the question to the country.
Okay, thank you very much. My question is that there's a lot of misconceptions that goes on in tertiary institutions, like tertiary institution, that girls, for them to make it, they either have to date the lecturer or sleep around, and they have an extra affair with them. What advice would you give them as someone who has really lived it to these young girls that they can actually make it without having these adulterous affairs?
Okay, I think that's a good question. Earlier on I talked about a lot of pressure amongst the girls. There's a lot of pressure to succeed, a lot of pressure to do well in tertiary institution, that is in college. But the advice I would give them is that there is no need for them to engage or to be used by these other people or by these old people. There's no need for them to be used. As long as they are focused and they do study hard, they just need to study hard and they will pass their college. There's no need for them to be used.
Okay.
So that's it. That's our takeaway. Take home. There's no need to be used. Because of time, we're going to move on to Catherine. Catherine Murumewangu, you can field the question to the country director.
Okay, ma'am. I understand being a lady in a society, male-dominant society, and you are a country director. Doesn't it affect your family and marriage and even in the society?
No, as I said, there's a lot of pressure. If you are a lady, you need to work hard. In a male-dominated society, we think they are more superior than the females. But as long as you are focused, you are hardworking, you know what you want, you don't have to be afraid. You will achieve your goal of being successful. In that male-dominated society, you will still achieve your goals. Just work hard and be focused. And don't be distracted by this maybe ridicule from men, or as they are trying to do you down, as they're trying to discourage you. Don't be discouraged, just be focused and you achieve what you want.
Catherine, just be focused. Very soon you'll be a country rep. Yes. We move on to Kudapashe Gomo. You can fill the question.
Yeah. Isusu se magituchi vachangobva kuchikoro zvinhu zvacho zvizhinji zvacho zvinozotionera pakuti munyika macho munenge musina mabasa ende zvinozobatsirana payuth yedu pakuita sei nekuti vazhinji vacho vari kurova madrugs.
Very good question. Chinoitika ndechekuti kana handiti musiri kubasa, ndapotava nyaya yepeer pressure inoitika kana vanhu muchiri vadiki, pama-adolescents ipapa ndo stage yamunenge muchisvika maybe form 6, makuma-19, pamwe makuma-20 or ya 18. Then poita ka-break kekuti hamusi kuenda kuchikoro, and saka kana musina kuzvingwarira manje, munotanga kufurirana kuti izvi ndo zvinotoita, makutanga kuita zvemadrugs, muchifunga kuti muri kufara. Saka pakunga kuti muri kufara ipapo muchifurirana manje kuti muri kufara, unopedzisira watozvijaira and haukwanisi kuzorarama usina madrugs. Saka kuridziro yandinokupai vakomana vechidiki ndeyekuti musaite zvemadrugs, musaite zvekuti tiri kumboedza zvekuedza kuexperimenta zviya, musatombobvira mambozviita izvozvo. Saka mukadaro unoona kuti unoramba uri mugwara, unoramba uchifunga kuti inini dai ndaita zvimwe zvinhu upenyu hwangu. Nguva yaunotanga paunoenda kumadrugs chete, unobva wakanganwa zvese zveupenyu, unofunga kuti wato-right. Handiti munotaura kuti unoti watosvika. Unonga watofunga kuti watosvika muupenyu. Hapana chimwe chauchada kuita futi.
Okay, tinokutengai chaizvo country rep nezvamataura izvi kuti ngavarambe ngavasabvume kufuririka, ngatisabiedzei madrugs ngasvogara ichasiyana nawo zvachose. Tinotenda chaizvo nekuuya kwamaita kuchirongwa chedu. Tisati tapendera program yedu, maybe if you can give us, the listeners who are listening today, the youths, the adolescents, one word of advice you want to give to them.
I think I've been using this word many times during this discussion, that just be focused and achieve your goal. And it's possible to achieve your goal as long as you are focused and you know your sexual reproductive health rights. You talk of sexual reproductive health rights. Population Services Zimbabwe is there for you. You can reach us through our toll-free lines. You can also talk to us, visit our clinics. We also have outreach teams, and we have youth-focused service providers who attend to your needs.
Okay, thank you very much for making time to join us today.
Thank you.
So that's all we had for you in this segment. That was the Population Services Zimbabwe Country Director, Pester Siraha. Don't go away. We have a local musician, Holy 10, coming up. Welcome to the program.
Thank you for having me.
You are most welcome. Holy 10, as you can see, this program is brought to us by Population Services Zimbabwe, an organization that deals with sexual reproductive health, which is a very important issue we are discussing today. You being a leader, you being a musician, an influencer in your industry. I just wanted you to, today we want you to mentor the youths who are watching us today, as well as talk about sexual reproductive health. But before we go into that, I want you to just walk us down your career path. Did you sit down one day as a 10-year-old or as a 16-year-old and said, I want to be a musician? Is it something you planned, or you just found yourself in the limelight?
What I was trying to do is to spread a message. I've always been vocal about my experiences and my feelings. So I used to do a lot of poetry. I used to write a lot of prose when I was growing up. But then I just found myself entangled with hip-hop music because I liked it. And I just liked the way they were expressing their message even throughout their lifestyle. So when I was 16 years old, I found myself with a microphone and a laptop learning how to make the beats and everything. That's when I started realizing that this could be a career for me. Because when you trace some people's lives that have been doing things and you see them starting from this point and they got to this point, you get inspired. That's when I realized this can actually be a career. And I started mapping the way.
Okay, and how did your parents take it? I'm just looking at the Zimbabwean context. When you look at, you compare with America, the industry is well-funded, well-resourced. How did your parents take it when you said, this is the career path I want to take?
When I started showing it to them as a passion, they were supportive.
Okay, that's good.
Yes, they were supportive. As long as you're balancing with your books, they said it's okay. But then when I started deciding that this has to be a career for me, this is the thing that I want to do, it took a lot more than just a speech. I had to make some moves. All this had to come through. I had to work as hard as I do. But at the end of the day, they said, we'll give you the blessing.
Okay, maybe if you can share some of those challenges. You said it's not supposed to be just a speech. There could be a young person listening today and they're going through a similar challenge. What is it that they're supposed to put into action so that the parents really understand that this is my career path and this is where I'm going?
All right. Music being referred to as a career, it means it's as complex as anything you can go to school for and study for 4 years. I feel like what needs to be done is to break the stereotype around the music. Because it takes more than just a speech to tell your parents that now I want to go and rap. Some people go for 4 years to study music. So you have to find a way to break the stereotypes. The stereotypes like vanema gitari and drugs, vanema gitari ashtorina mari, things like that. So it's your way around that. And I managed to do that and convince them.
Okay. And what has been your biggest achievement to date?
I think it's having to go anywhere in the country, and then if anyone sees my face, they recognize, and then they appreciate me for the message that I bring to them. So for me, the message that I'm pushing got there to the people. That's my biggest achievement.
And we're here in Epworth, and just give the listeners, and the viewers, an idea of what really transpired when you got to the Population Services Zimbabwe clinic.
Yeah, there was chaos. When the kids outside realized it was me, they were debating for like an hour, until they finally came to see me, and yeah, so there was chaos outside.
Did they make you sing?
No, I never sing in public with you.
But you will sing for us here today, right? I hope.
I don't know.
Okay, you keep us guessing. You have been writing songs that address problems that young people are facing these days. Why, yes, you said you are spreading a message.
Yes.
Why is it important that you spread, especially issues that affect young people?
Because I am my brother's keeper. I realize that there is no way we can go as an economy, there's no way we can go as young people if we don't look out for one another. And I've been in a lot of places where I've seen people falling in pits that we could have just saved them from, just by simple advice and everything like that. So I'm worried, to be honest, about the youth of today. So I feel at the obligation, I have to say something.
What are some of these pits that you refer to?
I've seen people committing suicide. I've seen people turning to alcoholism and drug abuse. I've seen people just giving up on their dreams and passions.
And, in addition to that, there's also an issue of teenage pregnancy. And it has become an obstacle, and it hinders young people to realize their dreams and goals. Be it the girl who's pregnant, or whether it's the boy. It affects your life. Some parents end up saying, if you are the person who made this girl pregnant, you're no longer going to school. And this is a sexual reproductive health issue. What is your advice that you want to give to the youth out there regarding this issue? Because whether we like it or not, it's happening. Adolescents and some youths are engaging. Although, it said we need to abstain, this is happening behind our backs. But what advice do you want to give to the youth?
I just want to encourage the youth to look around and to count all the things that are happening in the day of today. Just get the statistics of how many people get infected on a daily basis. Personally, I feel like there could be so much advice I could give, soft advice, but sometimes you have to call a spade a spade. Sometimes you have to appear before the youth and tell them the truth, that people are actually dying, and show them statistics and everything. We need to teach people how to love themselves, because I feel like me giving someone advice, it's probably me trying to show them more love than they show themselves. I do songs that remind people about the value that they have, because I feel like you restrict yourself. You are your better master than anyone else can ever make you do anything. I sang Kumakunevan because the girl child really needs to know that home is safer than anywhere out there. I sang Bozwangu because I need people to understand that it's okay to be at home. Because I've seen, probably me included at one point, where people go out there and turn up and then they party, and then because you're unable to be there, it's like you're an outcast, like Gogasara and stuff like that. So I want the youth to know that wherever you are, you can be comfortable and you won't give yourself into everything.
Okay. What word of advice would you want to give to the youth listening to this program related to sexual and reproductive health?
First of all, I'd like to tell the youth that, number one, you have to be safe. You only get one chance. Sometimes you go out there and indulge in these activities without any protection. You're condemned to a sickness for the rest of your life. So you have to be aware of that. And if you're engaging in sexual activities, you have to condomize. You always have to be safe. Don't take any chances. Don't assume that someone looks healthy. Don't assume that, there are all these other facts, on the street that if you do this, if you use this, you won't get any STIs. Don't listen to that. The advice here is condomize, protect yourself. And then I also want people to be conscious of things like consent. The recent song that I've just done called Appetite, if you sit down and pay attention to it, the theme around it is really about consent. You have to be aware of how old your partner is. You have to be aware of how old you are, because even the law forbids a certain age and below from indulging those activities. So just try to follow those rules and keep in mind of all the things that can go wrong by indulging.
I will make sure that I actually heard that you released that song, I think 2 days ago?
Yes,
2 days ago. And unfortunately I didn't have data, but I'm going to make sure after this I will listen to the song. And it's very good of you that you are touching around issues of consent, because many people, I don't know whether they intentionally ignore or they're not aware, but I think coming from you, the youths and adolescents are listening to that, and they have taken note. At this point, Holy 10, I want to rope in the youth. We have some youths here who want to ask you questions. Seeing you as their role model, seeing you as a leader in the industry, they want to ask you questions. So I would like to welcome you, Blessing Tigere, to the program.
Thank you.
Tafadzwa Muzembingwa, welcome to the program. Classens Petro, welcome to the program.
Thank you.
You are not new to this program.
Yeah.
And Hazel Jojo, welcome to the program.
Thank you so much.
So this is the opportunity that that has been created for you to engage Holy 10. He's a local musician. I'm sure all of us know who he is. Before the program, I heard a lot of people singing Uneka Softas Kandoda. You know who he is. If I can begin with the Tafadzwa. Tafadzwa, you can field a question to.
Pamwe tamashozi unoziva kuti kune vamwe vasikana pamwoyo vamwe vanotozoita pana vamwe vanenge vatokufarira vanotokudai ende pane vanotanga kuekta zvokuti chese mungokuitawo mafeelings vakabvunza kuti munozvitora sei.
Zvinhu zvakadaro zviripo, especially in industry maybe, but I think it's about access. Us as popular people tinopiwa advice yekuti vanogadzira break wall. So usually we have about 12 guys and one tendereza. Like it was how actor or however. I don't know what to do. So that's how I put it.
Okay, thank you very much for that. Let's bring in Blessing.
Okay. I would like to know what motivates you to write these songs every day. I want to know what's that inner thing that drives you to write songs.
All right. I have skills that I would like to say: observing and reporting. I am conscious of what's happening in my environment. One day you might be shocked and you will be hearing one of my verses when I'm singing about something that happened. I'm always taking notes, mental notes. I'm observing. And then when I sit down in my dark space, whenever I get time and I want to be creative, I report that which I saw, the reality that was around me. So I don't ever tell a lie. I just want to sing the reality.
So Holy, I'm expecting a good report in your next album. Classens, you are up next.
Alright, Oli, so you personally, how are you managing an account? Because I hate what I was doing when I was studying, so personally, how are you managing?
I believe I'm a man of ethics and principles. I also have value and pizza. I don't live by the amount of people. Right? I also have one heart that I feel like I have to reserve for one person. So Gamjai or whoever could come and do whatever they want to do, but I won't flinch. Why? Because I have the list and
Actor is not part of the list. Let's come to you, Hazel.
Okay, you are now famous, and in a situation whereby you want to access SRH services, probably want to go to a local clinic,
and probably people want to take pictures with you and stuff. How do you do that? You want to get access to SRE services, but then there's also this, popularity that is coming in as well.
Well, I think it's one thing that I've had to swallow down and understand it's inevitable. Sometimes I meet people and maybe you have a headache or maybe you're in a bad mood. And you've seen celebrities that actually take people's cameras and throw them away and throw tantrums on people. I've had to realize that I'm now popular and people are not coming out to attack me. They're happy. And sometimes you just have to pretend like you're not safe, take a picture and that's all.
So for the benefit of us, can you do a demo for us?
What kind of demo?
No, I mean, maybe.
Unega softwares and do that. Vanozvifarira izvendoupa. Kasangobaiza kunyamuntu wangu. Zakatenga panoda.
Thank you very much. I'd like to thank you very much, Holy Ten, for coming to the program and also for answering the questions that the youth had for you today, as well as educating the youths who are watching us at home. Thank you very much for coming.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you very much to the youths who fielded the questions. So there you have it, listeners. We have come to the end of today's program that was brought to you by Population Services Zimbabwe with the theme Drive to Stay Alive During COVID. In this program, we had the country director who was mentoring the youth and adolescents, and we also had local musician Holy Ten who was with us in the studio and who was giving us a bit of advice around career and also staying safe. So if I can summarize the words from the country director and Holy Ten, stay safe and stay focused. Get back.